There are so many questions still to be answered about COVID-19, the novel coronavirus that stopped the world. But the biggest question may be, why weren't we ready for this? I mean, we knew it was coming, or at least we should have known it was coming. And still, the same shortages that you're facing at the supermarket, our healthcare system is facing, except instead of hand sanitizers and toilet paper, they have shortages of test kits, of ventilators, of hospital beds, of face masks, and proper protective clothing. In New York City, a nursing manager died after being infected with COVID-19. He was wearing a trash bag for protection. After that happened, his co-workers at Mount Sinai Health System took this picture and sent it to the newspaper. It's been popular to pass around on social media. Mount Sinai released a statement saying the picture and its implications are not accurate. Still, there are shortages, and all of them have to do with money. A lot has been made about the fact that in his latest budget proposal, President Donald Trump wanted to cut the budget for the Centers for Disease Control by almost $700 million, or 9%. And that is true. And it's also true that Congress didn't approve those cuts. And the president ended up signing that budget with an increase of $420 million for the CDC, or about 5%. But neither the Democrats nor the Republicans can claim to be the champions of the CDC. The CDC gets substantially more money now than it did during the Obama administration, and President Obama proposed cuts to the CDC several times during his 8 years. If you compare the money we give to the army of doctors and researchers who are trying to protect us from these diseases, to the money we give to the actual army in the defense budget, it is a pittance, and it's pitiful. And yet, in the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918, it's estimated that between 50 million and 100 million died. That's 1 out of every 30 people on the planet at the time. Far more than have been killed in any of the world's wars, with the possible exception of World War II. The pandemic of 1918 was just one of many wake-up calls that we have ignored. I spoke with Dr. David Aland, Chief of Infectious Diseases at Rutgers University, and he told me that we have hit the snooze button several times just over the past decade.
We've had a wake-up call with H1N1, which is commonly called the swine flu. So we've known, and we've had a wake-up call with avian influenza, which hasn't caused a lot of transmission between people, but has caused some, and is an extremely deadly virus. So we know that there are viruses out there that can pose a threat to the world. We know that pandemics occur, and this was predictable.
AIDS, Ebola, SARS, MERS, Zika virus, avian flu, swine flu, they come at us every few years, but America has grown complacent because out of a combination of a great healthcare system and pure luck, we have survived with very few deaths. But that lucky streak can't continue. Time magazine tried to warn us that we were not ready for the next pandemic with this cover in 2017. Hollywood has tried to warn us with movies like Contagion, which, by the way, is getting more viewers right now in Netflix than it did when it was released in theaters in 2011. But maybe the most notable, and certainly the richest person that tried to warn us, was billionaire Bill Gates during a TED Talk in March of 2015.
Today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes. Now, part of the reason for this is that we have invested a huge amount in nuclear deterrence, but we've actually invested very little in a system to stop an epidemic.
All those warnings, and we didn't listen. It seems the greatest shortage we are facing when it comes to pandemics is a shortage of attention. If we start caring, our policymakers will care. We will survive this pandemic, but it won't be the last. Did you hear that? That's another wake-up call. Now it's our choice whether we're going to go back to sleep till the next one or seize the moment. I'm Larry Mendte. We'll talk again soon. One last thing, you can see that we're in our studios in Freehold, New Jersey, and that's because I had a problem with some of my equipment from home. I came into the studio and we thought we'd just shoot the intros to the pieces while I was here. Chief Engineer Jim McGowan is manning the control room, and he's been manning the building by himself. Thank you so much for doing this, Jim. Thank you for watching. Please stay safe and stay at home if you can during the coronavirus. I'm Larry Mendte. This was Jersey Matters. We'll see you again next week.